Hey there, ever wondered why you might be out of breath when you're stressed? Or how your mood affects your breathing pattern? Did you know we have 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts per day? And these thoughts can be swinging between negative to positive under the influence of the neurotransmitters and hormones in our brain. Today, I'm going to dive into the fascinating world of understanding the intricate relationship between stress, breathing patterns, and neurotransmitters. And I'll be exploring some relaxation techniques as a tool to offer you to manage your stress effectively. Before I could dive further in, if you have not already done, please do hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified on my weekly content. Without any further ado, let's dive in. Let's begin by understanding what is stress. Stress is our body's natural response to any demand or threat. When you're under stress, your body releases your primary stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones prepare your body to fight or flight in response to the threat, and by doing that, internally increases respiratory rate, heart rate, and alertness. Now, let's look into interesting fact about our breathing. Did you know an healthy adult breathes 12 to 20 breaths per minute? And on average, if you take 16 breaths per minute, and that translates to 23,000 breaths per day. To put it in a perspective, each breath has a tidal volume, which is the volume of air the lung can hold, is 500 milliliters. Over the course of the day, the total volume a lung can hold is 10,000 liters, which equates to about 42,194 cups of shot Starbucks coffee cup, or of 20,500 milliliter Coca-Cola bottles. So you can imagine the number of breaths, the volume of air a lung can hold in a day, and number of thoughts. If you can make a connection, how many times your breathing is increased with those negative thoughts? Can you imagine? What is the consequence of this? Why am I stressing on this? The negative thoughts increases your breathing rate. If your breathing rate is increased, then your sympathetic and hyperactive, which is translating to that. If you hyperventilate, that leads to more expulsion of carbon dioxide. So you're draining up the carbon dioxide out of your body. And carbon dioxide is not as bad as it sounds, although it is a toxic gas. Some amount of carbon dioxide levels are required for our breathing to be triggered to get that next oxygen into our body. So once you're hyperventilating with those negative thoughts, panicking, excessive carbon dioxide is going out of your body, which then disrupts the pH balance in your body. Normally, our breath contains inspiration, that is breathing in, and expiration, that is breathing out, which should last for 3.75 seconds. I repeat again, 3.75 seconds. And based on inspiration, 1.5 seconds, and expiration is 2.25 seconds. And that is a normal breathing cycle. If you're breathing faster, this is disrupted and you're breathing quickly out, expelling that deeper and expelling more of the carbon dioxide. And as a result, as I mentioned earlier, you're disrupting your pH balance, and that is not good for your body. And your body cycle is then carried on in a negative pattern, triggering more panics and more negative thoughts cycling around. So you have to break the cycle at some point. How do you do it? We have to change the way our neurotransmitters are released and what type of neurotransmitters are released and hormones are released in our brain to correct that buffer and maintain that pH balance. And that is all done by activating your parasympathetic system. Now, talking about the neurotransmitters, hormones like serotonin, dopamine, acetylcholine, norepinephrine, cortisol, GABA, endorphins, and oxytocin. So there are 8 neurotransmitters about which we are referring to here. These chemical messengers not only dictate our mood, but also regulate our breathing patterns. They are like the conductors in our brain, orchestrating how we feel and how we breathe. We take serotonin, also known as a feel-good neurotransmitter. Serotonin isn't just about mood, it helps regulate our breathing rhythm too, making sure we are in sync with our emotions. Talking about the dopamine, ever felt the rush of the excitement? That's dopamine at work. not just making us feel good, but also fine-tuning our respiratory centers in the brainstem. Acetylcholine, talking about that, it's like a director of our breathing muscles, ensuring they contract smoothly with each breath. Norepinephrine, as a part of our fight or the flight response, norepinephrine amps up our respiratory drive, preparing us to tackle the challenges head on. Cortisol, when stress hits, cortisol steps in, often causing the shallow breathing of hyperventilation. It's a reminder to slow down and take a deep breath. GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid, is a neurotransmitter in our brain. This neurotransmitter is brain's calming influence, easing anxiety and promoting relaxation, essential for steady, deep breaths. Endorphins, these are natural mood boosters, also helps us to relax, indirectly supporting smooth, deeper breathing. And finally, the oxytocin, known as the love hormones. Oxytocin fosters social bonds and reduces stress, which in turn supports healthier breathing habits. Given the impact of these neurotransmitters and hormones on our well-being, we shall explore some effective relaxation techniques that can help to manage our stress and promote healthier breathing patterns. Let's dive into some neuroscientific evidence that highlights the impact of stress and breathing on the brain. Research shows that chronic stress can lead to structural changes in the brain, especially the areas of amygdala and prefrontal cortex. And amygdala, which is responsible for processing fear and emotional responses, it becomes more active, while the prefrontal cortex, responsible for executive functions like decision making and emotional regulation, becomes less active. Interestingly, studies have shown that controlled breathing can help counteract these changes. First up is meditation. Meditation is a practice that involves focusing your mind on a particular object, thought, or activity to train attention and awareness. It has numerous benefits, including reducing stress, anxiety, enhancing self-awareness, and promoting emotional health. Let's try a short guided meditation. Find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and take a few deep breaths. Focus on the sensation of air entering and leaving your nostrils. If your mind wanders, gently bring your focus back to your breath. Continue this for a few minutes. Or if you're not able to do this, you can actually do Om chanting. Join me in Om chanting. Sit back in the chair or on the ground. That is the most suitable position for Om chanting, where you're connected to the ground and your feelings are more grounded. But if you're unable to sit on the floor, then you can use your chair. Sit back on the chair, shoulders relaxed and palm facing upwards towards the ceiling and on your lap, and close your eyes and feel your breath as you're breathing in and breathing out through your nostrils. Now, as you're breathing in, say Om. As you're breathing out, Om. So join me again. Om. 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 Now you can open your eyes. So as you can observe me doing, it is when you're going after 2 or 3 ohms chanting, you can actually prolong your om sound longer, that is breathing out longer, which equates to. So more breathing out longer helps to activate your parasympathetic system, and hence then you will feel more calm. So how did you feel doing with me? Meditation is one of the powerful tools that can be incorporated in your daily life. Just 5 minutes of meditation when you wake up in the morning, balancing the pH balance in your body system if you are waking up with more high levels of cortisol. So you can actually get your day with more calmer by doing this 5 minutes of meditation. Yeah. And the next technique to relax your mind and calm your inner neural system is emotional freedom technique. Emotional freedom technique is also known as a tapping, and it combines elements of cognitive therapy, acupressure, to help to reduce stress and emotional discomfort. So how it works: first, identify an issue that is more into your mind, causing you more stress, then create statements. For example, even though I feel overwhelmed at work, I deeply and completely accept myself. So this is a statement. It's an example statement. It can be any other statements, what is actually causing you more stress. Yeah. And next is tap on the acupressure points, especially the karate point, which is actually the side of your hand, and then top of the head and the eyebrows. You can use 1 or 2 fingers. Yeah. And I'm going to use 1 finger. And side of the eyes, under the eyes, under the nose, in the upper lip, and the chin, the collarbone, and under the arm. Yeah. And this is very simple technique, and it can be done under a minute. And it's need all focus. Each time you can repeat the phrase for 5 times or 3 times, whatever length of time you prefer to repeat the phrase, what you formed as an issue. So let's do the emotional freedom techniques. Are you ready to join me? Let's begin. So we are going to begin with our karate point, which is the side of our hand and outer part of the side of the hand. Yeah, just at the base of our little finger. And so we are going to start. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. It need not be work, it can be anything in your life. And then moving on to your head. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. And moving on to your eyebrows. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. And moving on to the side of your eyes. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Under the eyes. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. And moving on to the upper lip, below the nose. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. And chin point. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. And then moving on to your collarbone. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. And under the arm. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed, I totally accept myself. So that finishes your emotional freedom technique. So you can repeat this for 5 cycles, all of the points, or you can choose any 5 points and repeat it in 5 cycles. And that is going to activate your parasympathetic nervous system and induce a feeling of relaxed, calm mind and ease your breathing. So there you have it, folks, the integral relationship between stress, breathing pattern, and our neurotransmitters in our brain, and how it is actually connected to our breathing and how we respond and behave to other people around us and to ourselves. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell notification to get notified on my weekly content on wellness and mental health. Until next time, breathe deeply and stay well. Signing off, Devi Sundar.